All right, we're going to wait a few more minutes. We got a few people joining us right here, but happy Wednesday, everybody. Wanted to thank everybody for joining us here. I know it's late on a Wednesday night, but thought it was important to do this Facebook Live a little bit later. I want to go through SimpleGrowth's production and profitability training. And at the end of this, we're going to have a sneak preview of some pretty much revolutionary reporting that we're going to be able to do for KPI and production rate estimating and raising job pricing. But the particulars here are going to be going through creating production rate based estimating system, profitability, raising your prices, and a whole lot more. And most importantly, getting your team to buy in to the systems and processes to ensure profitability and quality. So it's not just enough to have profitability, but we also want to have some quality assurance along with those production methods. So if you can hear me, put some comments in there. Let me know that we're good to go, and we'll open this up in a second here. But if somebody could just type a comment in there just to let me know we got some audio, that would be helpful before we get going. All right, once again, if somebody could just make a quick comment in the comments area there, just to let us know the audio is good, and we'll get this rolling here in a minute. Perfect. All right. Looks like we've got some audio. So like I said, happy to do a little Q&A at the end of this. It's going to be probably a quick 20, maybe 30 minutes. But this will break down production and profitability. And this is not industry specific far as only lawn care or only home cleaning. I'm going to be teaching this so it is specific with examples in both of the industries. So whether you're lawn care or home cleaning, don't feel like we've left you out. This is going to be applicable to any industry in the service business for you. And we've got some interesting stats for the lawn care and home cleaning industry as well. So, all right. Want to say what's up to Dylan, Colin, Jonathan, Andrew, Garrick, Eric Beza. How is tomorrow in Australia, brother? And Dave Vonia as well. So got a couple late people coming in, but right now we are going to flip the screen out and get it rolling. All right. So a little background on myself. If you've never heard who I am or what I'm all about, just a little background on myself in the service business that I owned and actually sold, broke that 7-figure mark and well beyond in the lawn care industry in upstate New York, lawn care and snow removal. In addition, had the blessing to be able to work with some of the industry leaders of the cleaning industry, specifically Martha Woodward, Debbie Sardone, just to name a few. So we've cut our teeth, obviously, in the lawn care industry, but with some of the experience I already had in the cleaning industry and learning from the top experts in that industry, we were able to basically translate a lot of our teachings into both industries. So this should be really good for everybody. Background stories had over basically 3,000 to 4,000 hours of creating automated systems in my business. Long story short is my business started freshman year in high school, worked through 5 years of college. Inadvertently, when I built this business, no one had told me that you shouldn't create a business around the owner as the single point of failure. So if I left a day or two at a time or a week, the business would have self-imploded. So literally working 7 days a week, up to 100 hours a week, and probably even beyond, that business ended up causing a divorce. So kind of after hitting that rock bottom emotional spot, I went out and basically found an answer to my business, and it was automations. And along that journey, we ended up automating the whole entire business and going from 100 hours a week down to 3 to 5 hours a week to an absentee owner at 30 days at a pop. And along that crazy journey, we had some significant ups and downs of productivity, quality, profits, extremely profitable years, very dismal profit. So what I'm going to kind of do is lift the hood here the next 10 or 15 to 20 minutes and break down how we went through the trenches of our service business and created accountability and a system that can be replicated in pretty much any service business. So I think it's kind of my due diligence here to share this with you, and hopefully you can learn from some of the things we got lucky enough to get right in my business, and as well as some of the things we didn't get right. We had to figure out how to make that work. So if you're looking for some ideas how to create profitability and raise prices without emotion and get your team's buy-in, get ready, because here we go. So based on a couple of people I've seen already in the screen over here that have jumped in and are watching it, does anybody know what is the average net profit margin in your industry? And do you feel that you're above average? So if you're watching, throw in some comments or questions here. I'm going to look over on the other screen just to kind of read some of these out. But what industry are you in? And what do you think is the average net profit margin? What I mean by average net profit margin is after all the expenses are gone and the owner, and this is key, has taken out a basically a average wage. So if you fell ill today and you had to go out and replace yourself with an average wage that would be applicable. So some owners pay themselves significantly too less. Some owners pay themselves what would be the market value. So that's the number we're looking at. And some owners pay themselves significantly too much and bleed the business dry. So what would your thoughts be in your industry? Eric Beza is in lawn care. He's looking at 10 to 15% net is what he's thinking. Anybody in the cleaning industry watching what they would think? Ed Salomon, he's thinking 10 to 15 net percent for the lawn care industry. Kind of curious if any of our cleaning friends are on here or additional lawn care or snow removal. What are your thoughts? And then we'll kind of dive into it. And then I'll kind of demystify some of the assumptions here. Eric's saying he's a little below 10 to 15%. It's on an average, Eric, that's, as you're going to see in a minute, that's probably not a bad thing. Kelly, lawn care, 10 to 15 with installs. Okay, beautiful. So we see a couple more comments here and we'll kind of dive into what the reality is. So the reality as we're looking at it here is really the lawn care industry, believe it or not, industry average over the last few years is a 5% net margin. If you're looking at your big companies like a Brightview, they're probably between 3 to 4% what we saw. So cleaning was significantly higher, but still pretty tight margins for a service business, 19%. So that may be shocking to some folks here watching that when you thought it was 10, 15% in the lawn care industry, really the average is 5%. Now, my opinion, especially running a lawn care and snow removal company for 25 plus years, is it's really not worth putting those crews out for less than double-digit profit margins. And what we found working with hundreds of service businesses, even outside of my own, is that a lot of the lawn care companies and home cleaning companies will be in that really magic spot of 20 to 25% net profit margin. And we are going to dial in and look at the things that will erode that bottom line net profit margin overnight if we're not watching them. So hopefully if you're on here, you're pulling at least double-digit 10% net profit margins in lawn care and probably, hopefully, on average, 20 to 25% in the cleaning industry. But we're going to give you 5 or 6 really big takeaways in the next few minutes here going through this, how to ensure that you are gaining these profit margins in your business. And these profit margins are really, really tight right now. So we need to go expand it and have a way to track it and create accountability. And we're going to start from the foundation and work the way up throughout this presentation. So what are the key factors to be above in your industry as far as above net profit margin? So if you're watching live, throw a couple more comments in there. What your thoughts are what are the keys to success in your lawn care or home cleaning business to be above that industry average? So drop some comments below here. Want to see what everybody's thoughts is before we really get to it. But as Kelly says, this is really shocking. Ed Salomon says, damn. Another individual says we're at 7 right now. So really interesting is the perception of when you see these really large 7-figure companies, million and beyond, that you think they're absolutely making a killing. And the reality of it is most businesses right now with these paper thin margins are kind of playing Russian roulette with their financial security. So we're going to dive in and show you how to actually tackle that risk and make systems in your business to be profitable. So the key factors to better profits in your service business, first and foremost, is to create estimates that ensure profits. And we're going to show you how to do that today. Have jobs with budgeted times that can be tracked for accountability. So even if you're a one-person show, a solo entrepreneur, with is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I enjoyed my time on the truck. in the early days cutting my teeth by myself, or when I had a team of 18 to 20 different crews out in the winter plowing snow. I also enjoyed that time. But the key to it is if you didn't have budgeted time for those crews to know what was acceptable and what was not acceptable, they didn't have anything to push towards. And as the business owner, we had no way of knowing if the crews were doing what they should be doing. Now, in our gut, we probably are looking at it going sometimes, well, it's been really wet out there, or it's been a really long holiday season for the cleaning crews, and they're tired and they're slowing down, and it all just come out in the wash. Well, what it does is it does come out in the wash. It lowers those net margins down to the industry average, because most people are in that 15 to 20% mark, but when they're not having set goals, it deteriorates those profits. And we have no way to know until it's too late. So we want to have these jobs so they can track job costing and overhead recovery. So we want to know what the price is, the budgeted time to get it done, and what's it costing you in overhead, and what is that projected net profit. So we need to create a process that ensures that the budgets are be reviewed daily. So kind of like I alluded to, it's not enough just to have these budgeted times, but we need to have a process in place to make sure they're reviewed daily, and we have good data in, so we have good data out. Now, a lot of times when I'm working with service businesses, lawn care or home cleaning, a lot of times there's no data in and there's definitely no data out. But a lot of times, even if they do have the data, they're not paying attention to what's going in the system, so they have no benchmark to where they're really at. You're going to see why that's really important as we continue in this. Next thing is we found in my business is it was great to have all this in place once we figured this out. But then the next step was, how do we create public accountability and rewards for your team? And not only based on the production, because I'm going to share some stories where we crushed out the production, where we were actually able to add an extra $1,300 a week without changing a person on the team or equipment or crews, but on an incentive-based piece rate pay system, or very similar to Debbie Sardone in the cleaning industry. She does a pay per performance that she teaches in her teachings. But even if you're not using a piece rate pay system or pay per performance like Debbie, the key is we need public accountability and rewards for production, but there has to be a quality standard. So we had some massive issues with quality for a while when we were just focused on production. So we're going to dive into that tonight as well. And next, we want to have a system that tracks and reports this for you, hopefully automatically. So I'm going to show you the way you can track this in your business manually, which I'm not against, because sometimes we really need to see the pains, wins and losses to actually have a net effect to go out and retrain those teams and get them to work with our process and systems. If you've seen one of my videos from about 2 years ago when I was out, the gentleman running my company blew out his Achilles tendon. So I jumped back in the driver's seat to start to run the business again. And I felt the pain of this, one of these processes I'm going to show you, where I literally jumped out and trained this team for about a half a day in the middle of a rainstorm. But I had failed as a leader that day. So I'm going to show you how to not fail as a leader, but make sure these systems are on track. And whether you do them manually or automatically, they're set up for success and they drive those bottom line profits. And the last thing is, we're going to set a process for raising prices with no emotion. There is nothing worse, in my opinion, at least for me, to get on a Facebook page, one of the private groups, lawn care and home cleaning. I'm not picking on either one specifically, but it's in both, where people go at the end of the year and say, you know what? I deserve more money. I want to raise my prices. I'm raising my prices 5% this year, or I'm going to raise my lawn mowing prices $5 a cut, or I'm going to raise my weekly cleanings $10 and my biweekly cleanings $20 across the board. In my opinion, that is the most craziest thing you could do. And I'm going to show you why, because what you're doing is literally going out and getting your most profitable clients, and you're asking them literally to go shop you, while your least profitable clients that already know they're getting a deal, you're just raising them up to probably market value, if not probably a little bit below, if that's the way you're raising your prices. So I'm going to show you how to go in and really see how to raise those prices with non-emotion, and be able to do that at least twice a year, but be able to go in on a daily or weekly basis and see what that should look like in your business. So hopefully that sounds good. And now we're going to dive in to the actual processes. So there's really 3 ways of estimating. And I'm going to kind of pick on myself here a little bit. So when I first started my service business, I didn't know any better. So in the lawn care business, I would go up to the home and look at it and say, okay, well, based on this yard, the market price is probably about $45. So that's what I'm going to charge because I feel like that's what everybody in my market is charging. Same exact thing if you're in the cleaning industry. Maybe you're going in for top to bottom deluxe cleaning. It's this initial clean to get things going. And maybe you think your market price for that 1,200 square foot home or 2,500 square foot home is maybe $380. And then the weekly cleaning is maybe $150 a week. But you're doing it based on what you think the market is charging. Obviously, that is not the way to go, but that traditionally is what happens when we all first get into business because nobody tells us any different. Now, the second evolution of estimating is based on your experience and how long you think it'll take. So obviously, after a year or two, hopefully we kind of wisened up, at least I did, and said, hey, charging what the guy or girl down the street probably is not what I should be doing, but I should base it on my experience. And if I have an hourly goal of, say, $50 an hour, and I walk up to this job, and I think it's going to take 1 hour for one person to do the entire job, I'm going to take the 1 hour times my $50 an hour revenue goal, and I'm going to charge $50. Significantly better than obviously the first option. But where we really need to evolve is we want to base the prices on a production rate-based estimating system. And a production rate-based estimating system can be based on several different variables that we're going into, but it's going to be based on the square footage of turf or square footage of a home in the livable square footage area that we're cleaning. It can be based on additional variables of linear feet or the number of people or number of pets in the house in the home cleaning industry. So the idea is we want to have a non-emotional data point that hopefully has some historical data behind that where we can run and update production reports on our guys and girls in the field cleaning or mowing or whatever else they're doing, and we can take that and then multiply that production rate times the hourly revenue goal per person that we want, and we have a non-emotional way. And if you're looking to take your life back from your business as an entrepreneur and a business owner, this is, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest things for a business owner to let go of is the estimating process. Because if that's screwed up, they're taking money literally out of your pocket if they're underpricing. And you also got to worry if they're overpricing, because if they're overpricing, you're not getting enough jobs to feed the machine that you've built with overhead. So it's a double-edged sword. And this is something that most people are really scared to do. So I'm going to go in and break down how you can evolve your pricing. And most businesses, whether it's lawn care or home cleaning that we work with, may have some of these production rate-based estimating systems that they're comfortable with and they believe in and they're good. But there is some other ones that just literally they're not comfortable with. So I'm going to show you how to, obviously, we want to stay away from, and we do not charge what we think other people are charging in the market. I don't care what our competitors are charging. We're going to charge what we need for our overhead structure and our profit goals, and hopefully significantly higher than average industry averages. But we're going to figure out how do we base it on how long you think it's going to take, and then how do we grab the data from that and evolve that into a predictable production rate-based estimating system. And then once you have your production rate-based estimating system, what data points and how do you get that in the system to continue to evolve and update that year after year for better predictability and better profits. So step number one, obviously we're not basing it on market, but I like to call it guesstimating. It's time-based. So guesstimating is probably where you're first going to start, but then we want to take that into that production rate-based estimating. So this time-based guesstimating, and if you're not ready for the productions, this is where I'd recommend starting. But there's a way to start it and a way to track it to evolve into production rate-based estimating within 6 to 12 months, depending on your industry. But traditionally, lawn care and home cleaning within 3 to 6 months, if we have enough data points, we can get out of the guesstimating and start to standardize that production rate-based estimating and be able to delegate it to other people on our team. So we're not the only one that has to go out and do all those estimates. And a lot of times when we get the guesstimating figured out, we go into production rate, we can do a lot of it actually right over the phone. So we can streamline and speed up those estimates. But step one, we base it on your experience and how long you think it'll take. And in addition, we want to determine a dollar per man hour charge. So how much revenue per person in your business do you want to generate? And if you are still in the field as an entrepreneur, a business owner, we also want to charge the same amount for when you're out mowing or cleaning yourself. So first thing is we base it on your experience, how long you think it'll take based on your experience, and we're going to determine a dollar per man hour charge per service. So there's several things you really want to consider. First thing is, are we going to be tracking your guesstimating, your time-based estimating on how many minutes, how many hours, or how many days? And those are the three main units that I would look at. Doesn't really matter the industry, but those are the main three that we want to look at. So minutes are going to be more granular. So your cleaning, your lawn mowing, things like that, those are going to probably be based by minute, because based in your CRM, your customer relationship management software, no matter which one you're doing, traditionally, when it's based on hours, it will round up to the nearest hour. So it's in chunks of hours. So you could be completely overpricing or underpricing these jobs based on the way your software rounds up or down. So traditionally, I say we track how many man minutes to do the job. And the best practice I found is going to be doing that for one person. So even if you have a team of 2 or 3 people doing the mowing or the cleaning, we want to look at it as only one person doing it. And the reason why we do this, and most software systems account for this, and I completely agree with it, but it's confusing to the end user, and it was for me for a while as well. So I really thought about it, is how many people watching have a no-call, no-show employee? Obviously that happens. We're watching COVID times, and whoever thought of the $600 bonus for unemployment every week probably should get their head checked, because a lot of these folks aren't coming in and trying to get a new job. They're working off that unemployment. And then the ones that are there, a lot of times they know they've got some strength, because it's hard to really hire right now. So if you've got a 2-person crew and one doesn't show up, the time is based on one person. So basically, if you had, let's say, a 10-hour job for one person, when it was dispatched in the software, that 10-hour job would be divided by the 2 people, and it would be budgeted for 5 actual hours. So the software, if it's done correctly, should account for how many guys and girls are on that crew. Or if you have another crew join that crew during mid-job, it would adjust the budgeted hours. So I want you to look at it as how long would it take for one person to do it, and then when you schedule and dispatch, that would be adjusted for in the software. So we're looking at how many minutes, hours. If maybe you're doing a spring or fall cleanup in the lawn care industry, that may be something appropriate, or maybe a post-construction clean in the cleaning industry. So you're going to be charging by the hour for that one, pretty much. It's a big enough ticket value that if it rounds up to the next nearest hour, it's not going to kill you. And then how many days? So maybe design, build, or landscape jobs. We may be just saying how much we're charging by the day or the half a day. So those are the things to consider. Additional items now to consider are, now that we've created our estimate based on the minutes, hours, or days, we also need to track the square footage, the linear feet, or the size, maybe small, medium, and large. And the reason why we want these job variables, or custom fields that we call them, is once we have those in there, even though we've budgeted by minutes or hours or days, we are in the back end of the software tracking how long it took to do that particular job based on the square footage, the linear foot, or the size. And that is the data that we need to track behind the scenes to standardize those estimates to create a production rate-based estimating system. So I'm not saying that you should stay in this guesstimating phase long, but it is the first step to have confidence in your standardized production rate-based estimating system. So we need to take the initial steps to track that square footage, linear feet, size, home cleaning, number of people living in the house, number of pets, some of those things. Those are the things that need to be tracked. Now, other areas that are huge time sinks, no matter the estimating system, is shop time. So whether it's a lawn care company loading those trucks to go out in the morning, or it's home cleaning, loading the cars up, AM meetings, we got to have them. We need to account for those in our budgeted time and our overhead recovery. So if we're having a quick 10-minute huddle with a team every day, we need to account for those things. Are we accounting for non-billable mobilization or drive time? Those are huge, huge time sinks. So what we're going to recommend is, in a lawn care or home cleaning example, if it's a weekly cleaning or weekly mowing, we want to take your service area and break it into zones or postal codes and figure out what's the average drive time from your shop through all those jobs and back in there. And we can get those data from MapQuest or some other different features. But the idea is that, let's say we have a lawn mowing route that is 30 stops. And if we were to literally go from stop to stop to stop, from starting at the shop all the way through and back, it was 60 minutes. So we take the 60 minutes divided by our 30 stops. It's basically 2 minutes per stop. And then what we would do is take that 2 minutes times our hourly rate. So maybe it's 2 minutes times $50 an hour. And that's the additional average fee that we should be tucking in on top of that weekly service to account for that non-billable drive time. In addition, another one really in the lawn care companies, in landscaping companies, is material pickup. You may have 2 or 3 guys or girls on the truck. They're going to the nursery. They're getting loaded up. They're sitting around, and that could be maybe an hour literally driving to get the materials and getting them loaded up. If you got 3 guys or girls on that truck, that could be 3 non-billable overhead hours times each day of the year. So that's where you've got that 15 to 20% profit margin, as everybody said here, but it's gonna drive those margins down. So those are the invisible killers that are basically eroding those profits. Now, if that wasn't enough, what we found in my business is a lot of times when I was doing the estimates is we needed a non-emotional standard way to collect the minutes and hours and days. So how do we collect this non-emotional data? And how do we also consider the drive time and disposal of debris, material pickup, and different materials for the job? So we need a way to put that in, because traditionally we're writing it out on a piece of paper and hopefully sticking it in some kind of cloud-based CRM. We're typing the price in, but maybe we're like, yeah, it's a $45 cut based on the time and what we're charging. But man, if I really put that down to $43, I probably could get this job. It allows for emotion. So what I'm going to suggest and highly recommend, which was pivotal in my business as I was kind of the guinea pig going through this before we delegated, was we want to use a standard form for job intake. I like to call this the on-site estimate form or the job detail intake form. And I've got 2 examples here for lawn care and home cleaning. So in the lawn care example, all the information for the client loads in, but as we're doing the guesstimating or the time-based estimating, how many man minutes for the lawn mowing? So we would type in the number of minutes we thought for one person. We would select the zone. And then, and only then, when we went to open up the estimate in our software, it would automatically calculate the price based on our hourly goal of revenue, and it would give us a price, a budgeted time, and a cost before net profit. But now we're not generating and typing in or writing the price. The system is driving off the data you put in that. And traditionally, you're walking around in a mobile form and you plug that in as you walk around the property. Other example is shrub pruning man hours. How many hours is it going to take to prune those shrubs for one guy or girl? The number of debris disposals. So we're going to cover that drive time and the dump expense, and what drive time zone are they in. So those are the things that are going to drive non-emotional pricing. Now, in the cleaning industry, let's imagine that we're going out and we want to do an in-home estimate, or we're doing it over the phone with some variables and some questions. The idea here is we've got our top to bottom deluxe, or basically our deep clean, the initial clean. We type in how many hours for one cleaner to do that. How many for the weekly clean? How many for the bi-weekly clean? How much for a monthly clean or general cleaning? Because you may have different hourly rates for a reoccurring clean versus a general clean, which is pretty common. So the idea is in the cleaning industry, you're going to drop in the hours there. And then when you pull up that estimate, it calculates a price, a budgeted time, and a cost before profit. So we're taking our time-based estimating and creating a predictable process, but we're also tracking the square footage of the home. We're tracking the square footage of the grass, shrubs, maybe small, medium, and large shrubs. And we're creating data. So within 6 months, maybe 3 months, if there's enough good data in there, we can move and evolve into this production rate-based estimating of measurement in data. So the idea here is production rate-based estimating is really probably where we want to be. And that's where most people want to be. At least that's where I wanted to be. And it was interesting. The gentleman that replaced me estimating had never mowed a lawn. He had never trimmed a shrub. He had never mulched beds. He was a fertilizing technician. But it was interesting. Within about a week of him learning how to enter the data into these forms, I'm going to show you what it looks like for production rate-based estimating form here in a minute. His prices within $1 or $2 of mine with my 25 plus years of experience. So if you're thinking, Mike, this sounds great, but there's no way anybody could estimate and take what's in my head as far as knowledge and make this happen, I am telling you, without a doubt, it can happen, and it will be one of the most liberating things there. And if there was any place where they could potentially override the system with emotion, 9 times out of 10, a employee of the business minus the business owner is going to be significantly less emotional on that. So that's kind of the background story on that. So step number 2, we're going to base it on a production rate based estimating system. And in addition, just like the time-based system, we do need to determine a dollar per man-hour charge per service, because we may have some services that require a higher dollar per hour revenue than others based on our overhead recovery. So it's a whole different conversation. But if you're using a MORE system, a multiple overhead recovery system, lawn care, home cleaning, each division potentially could have a significantly different overhead recovery number and goal for revenue. So your landscape maintenance crew may be significantly less than your fertilize and pest control or your design build. Cleaning is probably going to be a little bit different versus your residential team and your commercial team if you run both instances. And we've worked with companies upwards of $19 million a year in annual revenue in the cleaning industry that have done commercial and residential. We've seen that in their overhead recovery. So don't think based on just cleaning or lawn care that it's different. It really is very, very similar. But the things we need to track for this production rate based estimating system is going to be linear feet. So things you may be looking at is linear feet of stick edging or blowing in lawn care. Maybe for cleaning, linear foot of baseboards we're doing on a deep clean. Square footage, so that's going to be the square footage of the lawn area, or in the home cleaning, it's going to be square footage of the house. If you're tying into things like Zillow, it's the livable square footage. So those are the custom fields or job variables we want to look at. We've got sizes. We've got small, medium, and large. So in my company for the lawn care and landscape maintenance, we would go out and look at shrubs. So small shrubs are up to 3 feet. Or just under 3 feet, between 3 and under 6 feet were medium, and from 6 feet to 10 feet were large shrubs. And we also did hedgerows with or without a ladder in 10 linear feet sections. But by doing that, we allowed the estimator to literally count the number, and there was no emotion. We had production rates and data behind this. In addition, number of items, so people, pets, living areas, those things will also add to that. Lawn care, number of items would be different number of zones for irrigation. If you're doing blowouts and turn-ons or backflow prevention tests, different things like that. We need to have those items. So once we have the data points, we can track the actual production rates. And they may change based on your equipment or where you're at. So we want to continue to update these things. So production rate based estimating is on-site estimate form for your production rate based estimates. Are very similar to the time-based estimates, but they're a little bit different. So I've got, once again, lawn care and cleaning examples here. Lawn care on the left here, we've got lawn square footage, length of landscape bed in linear feet to actually edge the bed. We've got mulch detail. So whether it is the area we're mulching in the landscape bed, do we want 1, 2, or 3 inches? And based on you putting it in on that level, it's going to kick out a price, budgeted time, and cost based on the quantity and the depth there. Mulched bed square footage for weeding. How many drive time trips to go pick up the materials if you're doing that? And then once again, the shrub pruning details. Number of large, medium, small shrubs, and number of 10-foot sections of hedgerow with or without a ladder. And now we've created that non-emotional area. And I'm going to show you behind the scenes kind of how this calculates in a second, whether it's by the minute or by the square footage or any of these other variables. But we're putting in the non-emotional data. And now when we pull up that estimate, it calculates that price, budgeted time, and cost, and potentially drive time all in there where the consumer wouldn't see it, but in the back end, you know you've accounted for it. Now in the cleaning industry, we're looking at things like home square footage, number of bathrooms, number of bedrooms, number of stories, how many living areas, what type is the flooring, is it wood, tile, pets and people, just to name a few. But these are things that can drive a production rate based estimating system in the cleaning industry as well as the lawn care industry. Very similar, shockingly. One's on the outside, one's on the inside, but it is the foundations of this will be the same. So once again, we're going to go in, we're going to back a slide up here. We're going to get your linear feet, your square footage, different sizes or number of items. We're going to drive it into a non-emotional production form. We call it an on-site estimate form. And now we flip this open and it creates an estimate. So behind the estimate, we've got our blueprint and implementation. So no matter your software for estimating, most softwares are going to have this type of data behind it. If it doesn't, you should find one that does. But there's quite a few out there. But the idea here is up top, we've got a lawn mowing and cleaning example. So lawn mowing is going to be based on our base price is $45. So between 1 and 5,000 square feet. So if you typed in up to 5,000 square feet on the on-site form, it's going to kick out a price of $45, 0.33 budgeted man hours, and a break-even cost, your cost before profit of $11.88. And that's based on what they want to get per hour. So your revenue per man hour in this example is $55, and the cost per hour break-even was $36. So that is their break-even. So how much did it cost them before they made a profit? And then we said, okay, based on that, every 1,000 over my base price of 5,000 is an additional $275 price, 0.05 man hours, and a cost of $1.80 before profit. So now we've set it up where this matrices would sit in the back of your software and automatically calculate the prices with no emotion when you plug in that data on that non-emotional estimate form. In addition, if you're doing it by minutes, hours, or days, this same type of setup can be done for that fashion. But we also need to track those data points of the area or units that we're servicing. So don't want to leave the cleaning industry out either. We've got weekly cleanings, the same thing, between 1 and 1,200 square feet. Base price is going to be $145 fictitiously. That's going to take 2.9 made hours. And we've got our $50 per man hour and our 35. So in this example, I'm missing the break even, but it would be in there. And then every 500 square feet over our base of 1,200 is an additional $48, 0.97 man hours, and a cost of $33.83. So this is the foundational data that form is going to start calculating off of. So this example is out of service autopilot. Like I said, there is a lot of softwares that do this. But traditionally, when we set this up on that platform, we take our blueprint that we were just on. That's our blueprint. And I use the analogy, you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. You're not going to put random doors and windows everywhere. You're going to follow the blueprint. Well, no matter your software, my opinion is you want to have this type of blueprint. We call this our blueprint in SimpleGrowth. And we take that blueprint and we transfer it over. So the top 5 lines right here that were on the Excel sheet automatically transfer in. Because most softwares, when you put that in, do not track this profit and profit percentage. So we want to go in and double check that before we put that in the software. And now that we have this, it's doing a calculation of quantity, rate times visit. So that's the multiplication. And it's based on a custom field. So that's based on turf square footage. Or if this was home cleaning, it would be based on home square footage. So what we're going to do is use that on-site estimate form to track your minutes, hours, or days on your time-based estimate. And then when we evolve into a production rate-based estimating system, we're going to use variables or custom fields such as turf square footage or home square footage and build something like this behind us. We're taking the emotion out and we're creating predictable profits that can be delegated to any estimator on site or on the phone. So any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the comments here as well. But as we go in here, the next thing is, now that we've figured this out, we've got to track some of these daily wins and losses. So how do we do this? And so at this point, we're going to make the assumption that we've created a standardized estimating system, whether it's time-based or we've evolved into the production rate-based estimating system, that is solid. It's foundational. But all of that means nothing if your team's out in the field cutting grass or cleaning houses don't have accountability and transparency. So every time they log into their mobile app or they have a printed out schedule, they should be seeing a budgeted time. Especially on some of the apps are really nice. They actually, once you go over the budgeted time, the number turns red and it starts clocking up. So you know how many minutes over the budgeted time you are, or percentages. But the idea here is this is one of our existing products. And if you are a KPI and accountability user with SimpleGrowth, make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to show you a sneak preview of how we've automated all of this. But it's in my opinion, still a great methodology of doing this because it forces someone to go into your closeout day screen where all the jobs are. And you're taking the total budgeted time and the actual time and plugging it into this sheet. And I'm going to open up a larger version of this in a minute. But right now we plugged in 15.75 hours here. And we'd have a fictitiously a start time and a stop time and total hours and a lunch and how many people are on there. So what it's saying is we've got gross hours of 22.5 hours. We don't have any lunch to pull out, but if we did, it would pull it out. So our payroll hours in this example fictitiously are 22.5 hours. And we've given the crew 16.75 hours. So it's letting us know for that day, non-emotionally, that we are 5.75 hours over budget. And it's 74% efficiency. So what I'm going to do is click into an example of this so you can actually see what this looks like. So let's just say we had this crew here. Their payroll was from 7 to 5 p.m. here, and we've got 10 hours. And let's say we had a lunch of a half hour for those 2 individuals on that team. So now the sheet is updated here. So we've got our gross hours of 20. We've backed out an hour here for lunch. So we have payroll hours of 19. We were budgeted 17.75%. Now we're over budget right now, still 2.25%, 2.25 hours. And that budgeted time right there has been updated to 88.16%. So if I took this budgeted time and just bumped it up to 19, so it was equal, so the budgeted time equaled the actual hours worked. You can see how that number now is bumped up to 100%. So it wasn't that the guys and girls working at Callahan's Lawn Care were stupid. They were very intelligent, had a lot of respect for them. But it was a tough conversation from management, in my opinion, to translate what we were looking for wins and losses to our crews in the field. And I'm going to show you how we actually shared this with our team on a daily basis with production and quality. But the idea here is there's a conversation. 100% is you hit your budgeted time. That's an easy conversation. You gave 100% and you did your job. You did it. We wanted you to do it in 19 hours. You did it in 19 hours and you did it with a quality standard. Now, if we go back to our budgeted time of 16.25 hours and it took them 19, 85% was also a very easy number. We could say, hey, Dave and Joe, you guys only gave 85% today. You didn't do your job. Even though you did hit the quality standard, you didn't do your job because you didn't give 100%. That resonated with them. And then in addition, let's say we gave them 20 hours to do it and they did it in 19. So they're 1 hour under budget. So obviously that's good. And we want to make sure there's a quality constraint. I'm going to show you how we did that and break down some tips on that. But that's also a really easy conversation that most folks can understand. You gave 105% today. You did up and above what was expected and you kicked butt. So what this sheet does is you would go in and it would force you or your admin every day to make sure you had good data in your software. And I'm going to show you how we can automate and fix some of this as well. But the idea is you want a start and stop time for every job. Depending on the software, you would want a start and stop time for drive time. So we're going to track our non-billable drive time to figure we have some gaps where we can build route density. We want a price and budgeted time for the job. Now, you wouldn't believe how many software clients we've gone into and there's no budgeted time. And shockingly enough, there was no price. They'd be doing the job for 6-7 weeks and not billing the person because they never put a price in the software. This is going to force you on a daily basis to make sure that you have good data in for the production reports, and I'm going to show you how to share this with your team. And as you scroll to the right here, we've got all the different crews. So we're going to do this for each crew as the business grows. But the cool thing is on the left here is we have a holistic view of the actual versus budgeted for all our crews. So now we're going to be able to track our wins and losses per crew per day. And then on an average, we can look over and say, are we on average on budget or under or over budget as a company as a whole? This is going to be done daily, and we're going to dive in and show you how to actually use this for accountability with your team. So what we talked about is crew buy-in and public accountability. This is a sketch. So if you go to the Simple Growth website, simplegrowthsystems.com, and I'll show you that at the end of this, and comment in the Facebook Messenger bot that's on there, KPI will actually send you a version of this with formulas in it that you can actually start using in your business free of charge. We're just going to give it away. But the idea here is, in our business, it was shown on a big dry erase board. We've seen clients use it on smart TVs, whatever it is. We just need a way to do this. And we also copied and printed out a version of this. It was pretty time consuming, but we put it in their envelopes or the paycheck stubs if they did direct deposit, so they could see where everybody was at and had a record of it week after week. But what we've got is we've got 11 crews here. We've got Monday through Sunday, depending on rain delays in the industry. But let's say it was no rain delays. We're working Monday through Friday. What we've got here is a percentage of budget. So that's going to come off that previous sheet right here. And we're going to simply plug that in here. So we're at 100, 95, 105, 70, 30% over budget really here. It's that delta. And they're at 98%. So on average, the crew did all right. They're at 93%. But obviously, we really want to see them at 100. And then you're probably looking at, well, if these guys and girls are really hustling, what's going to happen with quality? And I will tell you, it will drop significantly if you do not have a quality control in place. And we did not the first run at this, and it hurt. So we were pumping out an extra $1,300 a week in sales, but we did have some quality issues. We had to circle back and fix that. And how we did that was we created a quality score. And this quality score was twofold. You can manipulate it however you want. But what we did is a random sampling of each crew, each day's jobs done by a production manager. And we would just rank it as a +1 or plus or -1. And then as customers had compliments or complaints, that would be a +1 or -1 scenario. If there was damage, it could actually escalate to more of a negative effect. But if it was a general complaint, it usually was just a + or -1. So we had our percent of budget plus a quality score. So weekly results, we'd have our percent of budget and quality score. And then traditionally, we would, the following Monday, have a quick team meeting. We would award the team that did it with the best percentage of budget and quality score. And we had some equations in there based to level those out. So the overall product, we'd end up giving them a gift card to the movies or Domino's or whatever that was. Traditionally, we tried to give them gift cards to something they had to use with their friends or family, not just a monetary gift card to go buy groceries, because once that was there, it was gone. We wanted them to actually go out and force them to recognize their achievements and actually live in that moment for a minute. So huge thing that we learned over the years, that those gift cards that they actually had to use of value with someone were seen a lot better than just a monetary cash gift card to go out and buy groceries or gas, things like that. So that was really important to us. But once again, I'll mention it at the end here as we get near it, that you can get a free copy of this with the formulas as well off our Facebook bot. So the next thing we want to look at here is raising prices. So now that we've kind of figured out on an average, if we're making money or not making money each day on average, that's not accounting for the winners and losers in your business. So daily and weekly, we're going to track profitability, but I'm going to recommend at least twice a year that you go out and analyze your clients and not emotionally raise them. So be really curious to see, based on any comments here before I actually dive into how you do this, how many people here actually raise their prices or at least look at their prices at least twice a year? This was something that we didn't do in my business in the early days, but it was very fundamental for us. And we've got some other questions. Jeremy Guevara, where do you see the drive time in SA? We've been tracking that. I can definitely answer at the end, Jeremy. But if you are using the mobile and you clock in and out, that will come out in this report if you're using Service Autopilot. But basically, the thing we want to look is if you are raising your prices, how are you doing it? Are you doing it as a percentage increase or a dollar amount across the board? And if you remember the beginning of the talk, or you joined later, the people doing that in Facebook and posting that I'm going to raise my price by $5 a cut in lawn mowing, or I'm going to raise my prices by 5%. You are absolutely alienating your most profitable clients. And I'm going to show you why and how to actually fix that right now. So this is, once again, part of our KPI product. It's a Google Doc that people should be using twice a year. I recommend in lawn care, probably the middle of July, right around now, and November, December. Home cleaning, traditionally, those halfway points are pretty good as well. but you could tweak it whenever you want. But I'm not saying you only have to do it twice a year. You might be doing it quarterly, long as you have a statistical mean and an average here. So what I'm going to do is pop that sheet open again and show you the second tab, how this actually works. And then I'm going to show you how we've made some revolutionary discoveries, how to use reports to actually make this happen in Service Autopilot if you're using it. But if you're not using Service Autopilot, this process is definitely applicable in your business as well. But this is literally an export out of reporting in Service Autopilot. Or if you're not using Service Autopilot, we have the ability for you to enter your client's addressing name and the start and stop times, and it calculates all the information, and it shows you what you should be charging per cut or per cleaning based on the actual time. So we do have the ability for some manual entry and to take benefit of that if you're not using Service Autopilot yet as well. So, but this job costing report is really what I want to focus on. So we've got this house here that this company fictitiously mowed twice this year. But you would have, in a mowing example, you would have 12 or 15 jobs already halfway through the year, and then you'd have the whole year at the end of the year. So you're creating an average. So it's accounting for the slow season, the fast season, and everything in between. So what's happening here is this crew, based on their start and stop times, clocking in and out of that mobile app, is making on average $54.28. And this stop, they made $60.31. So on average, they were generating $57.30 per man hour. Now, Jeremy asked the question of what's that drive time cost effect? So if this was an actual account and they used a mobile in-service autopilot, that drive time cost effect would actually be here. And if you had the payroll tab under payroll job costing filled out, this data would automatically be filled in here. So you're going to have some really interesting data. So we're made $57.30 an hour, and I'm going to plug in here. My desired per hour goal is 60. So we're about $3 less than our goal. So what the sheet says is, hey, on average, your current price is $54.28, and you need to charge to hit $60, $56.84 on average. So your average price increase per visit needs to be $2.56. So whether it's lawn care, home cleaning, the idea to be able to run at least twice a year report without emotion based on the starts and stop times of your guys and girls and your equipment is what I traditionally like to see. So if our desired dollar per man hour, let's say was 50, the sheet says, oh, wait a minute, you were at 57, that's $7.30 higher than your goal. You don't change your price. So this is where you can get in trouble. We had accounts at my company that we were making over $100 an hour on average with drive time. So if I systematically went out and raised the prices $5 or $10 a cut, what I'm doing is shopping those clients that are making double the $50 mark fictitiously here. So if your goal is 50 and you're making 100 per hour, why would you ever mess with that client? You wouldn't. But that's what a lot of companies, most companies in the service industry are doing. So it's very, very important that once you figured out your estimating based on time and then a production, we've created an accountability system daily and weekly, and we've got an alignment with our team that we need to be able to go in systematically every year, at least twice a year, and raise the losers. Because if we raise it across the board, we're alienating our most profitable clients. Very similar to Jack Welch at GE. Jack Welch would basically get rid of his bottom 10%. In essence, that's what we're doing here. We're creating a more profitable company by raising the bottom up. That's where those industry averages from 5 or 6% in lawn care, 18 to 19% in cleaning can be driven up to an extra 10, 15%. And you could be the anomaly in your industry. So it's really important that we look at this and we have a non-emotional way. It was pretty interesting in my business. I used to actually go in and take the name and highlight it black. And I would go through the manual process here. Now, the only caveat of this is if there is bad data in a sheet like this, which a lot of our KPI clients know, is it could take hours, sometimes weeks, to get through all your clients and all your services to make sure all the data is in there clean. So what the daily process does in the KPI process is this process here is going to ensure you've got good data, because you got to check it daily and report out weekly. And then when you get to the 6 and 12 month mark, you know the data is good because you've checked it weekly. And now you're going to make sure every account you have is profitable twice a year. And then the daily and weekly function is going to make sure on average, all the jobs are budgeted and profitable. So we've got daily and weekly accountability, and we've got twice a year minimal accountability for profits. So that is going to be the success of driving that profitability in that business in a predictable way. So huge announcement. Want to show everybody the new version 2 KPI and accountability by SimpleGrowth and how we've automated this whole entire process inside Service Autopilot. And like I said, if you're not in Service Autopilot, you can still benefit from this. But if you are in Service Autopilot, and anybody watching right now, I know a few people are using our KPI product, you definitely want to hold on and see this. So we've automated the daily and weekly reports all inside the report center. And not only did we automate them, but we're going to be able to deliver them automatically to you in email daily and weekly. And what we've got in this example here is, let's just say Chad here is working solo. So very similar in his weekly cleaning company. It's going in and checking the time. So if the clock in and clock out time wasn't appropriate from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., maybe he's doing commercial cleaning. This cell, as you'll see in another cell, with bad data will turn red or magenta and let you know the clock in or clock out time is in error. It's also going to check to make sure the billable hours are correct based on the clock in and clock out. It's going to check the budgeted time. So if you don't have any budgeted time, it's going to turn red and let you know. And it's going to check that you have a job amount in there. So all the key points of data that you need to report out to your team and be financially successful are all completely automated to you in your email or logging in the back end of the report center Service Autopilot. So just like the percentage that we had here of the 105, what we've done is fully automated that percentage. Now you may be thinking, well, what happens if I've got 2 different crews that log in on a job at 2 different times? Well, we're going to base it on the time of percentage budgeted time and allocate the percent of budgeted time to the particular crew evenly. So we have reporting based on shared jobs. Now, other example here is we've got 2 people on our mowing crew. So we've got our 50% and 50%. And what in the published version, there'll be a total here based on all the jobs under each crew. So it would be 100% here and 125. So now you're going to have a daily and a weekly view to this report automated to you in your email if you want it, or you go into the Service Autopilot Report Center. So that itself is absolutely huge because I know a lot of people love being able to track this sheet, but sometimes they don't have time. They don't want to pay their virtual assistant to do it. But I do see a lot of value in this because it's going to force you to look at it. So if you're one of those folks that aren't going to look at the report, still recommend doing this. And if you're using our KPI program, we're going to continue to send you the manual process as well. You can let us know if you don't want it. But right now, moving forward, any of our KPI customers are going to get this automated report shortly. We just need access to your report center under user rights and roles. Now, if that wasn't enough, this is the part that I am extremely jazzed about. So if you were a larger company doing 1,200, 1,300, say fertilizing accounts or 600, 700 mowing accounts, that job costing report that was on the second page here could have stretched thousands and thousands of cells. I mean, that could have been hours or if not weeks, making sure this data was good and dragging the formula down here to calculate it. So that's no longer a thing that you need to do or even worry about. The SimpleGrowth team has cracked the reporting in Service Autopilot to do this. So you have daily access to this in Report Center, and then twice a year, traditionally in July or November, December, depending on when you want it, we will automatically email it to the person or persons that need it. But we've got it. And you can see here, check actual hours. So this was a pain right in the butt when we didn't have data exported out of the system here. So now we've alleviated that. Check your actual hours. So you can go into this date in this assigned resource and see what happened. Where was the clock in and clock out? There wasn't any. There wasn't any revenue per man hour because there wasn't a price, or a revenue per man hour because there wasn't any times. And is the data okay? The actual revenue total, what did we charge? So if there wasn't a price, it's going to check it. So we've gone now and absolutely automated the whole entire thing for you. And then in addition, we've got some fictitious data in here, but this guy here up top for the mowing, there's 3 stops. It works the same in cleaning. Basically, they were their revenue, their new job price and old job price for this time, they hit the budget time, so it didn't need to go up. They were way under budget or over budget, so you'd actually have to raise the price $12.90 here. And then they were a little over budget here, so $2.20. So on average, the sheet actually calculates the non-emotional price increase from the 55 to the 57.20. And then the bottom one here for this job, they hit the budget of time. So there is no price increase. So what we've done is taken a very manual process, but important process that needed to happen, and gone in and automated the whole entire thing for you inside Service Autopilot, and made this work. So here's the deal. If you're a current KPI customer, we're going to give you all this here in the next week or two at absolutely no cost. If you are not a KPI customer, we've got a special webinar price here on Facebook Live only today if you sign up. But what it is the KPI V2 plus accountability. So once again, all our current clients are going to continue to get what they're getting. And in addition, they're going to get the daily and weekly reports, budget versus actual, up to 3 services. So lawn mowing, say fertilizing, and something else. But basically you'll have 3 services that are automated for the job costing. And when I'm talking about the job costing, this right here. Now, if you want to do all your services in the manual process, go ahead. It's already included in the price you're paying. But if you want to have the automated process, there is a lot of legwork for Simple Growth to set it up and test it. We're going to give you up to 3 services that you select. We'll build the report and automate it for you. It's going to be the same price, $39.97 a month. With the new V2 plus accountability, there is a $100 setup fee for anybody new signing up. We're waiving that $100 setup fee for this Facebook Live special and the announcement. So if you're hanging out with us here, no setup fee. But hopefully that makes sense. So anybody who's got KPI is already automatically getting with option number 1. Option number 2, if you want to upgrade, is we've got our daily, weekly reports, budget versus actual, and we can automate the job costing. So it tells you what you need to charge for up to 6 services. That's going to be $69.97 a month, and we're waiving the $100 setup fee. Option number 3 is going to be the same daily and weekly reports, budget versus actual, automated, as well as the manual process if you want it. And we will automate up to 9 services for the job costing and price increase data. And that's $99.97 a month, and we're waiving the setup fee. Now, you may be looking at it and saying, well, Michael, if I've got more than 9 services, that's okay. You'd want to sign up for option 3, and somebody from Simple Growth, when we talk to you, just let us know, and it would be an additional $10 per service for that automatic pricing and data increase there. So curious if anybody's comments or questions on this, but I am absolutely excited to announce this. A lot of people have been using that KPI with great success, but some people don't necessarily like doing the manual work. So we listened to you and we built this out. So even if you're not interested in this, highly recommend you take those steps to create a production rate based estimating system. If you're not there yet, create that time-based system, track those variables, watch the recorded version of this, and dial that into your business. But I'm going to be on here to answer any questions regarding this, this offer, and you can sign up right here. It is SimpleGrowthKPI.com, and I will put that actually right in the comments here as well. I've got a couple questions coming in, so I will also answer those. Sign up is at SimpleGrowthKPI.com. Once again, if you've already got KPI, you're automatically going to be uploaded in the next week or 2 to version 2 with no extra charge, and you can continue to get the communication you always get. And then after you get familiar with version 2, if you want the automated daily reminders to be turned off, we can do that. But as it is right now, we're just going to upgrade it, and everything else is going to stay the same unless we hear elsewise. So Jonathan says, Mike, I got to email you and get the plan where to get started. I'm about to finish my overhaul, hopefully, and definitely looking forward to getting started with Simple Growth. Well, Jonathan, definitely looking forward to talking to you there. And if this is something that you want to do, and it's something you're confident in, that this is going to be part of your plan, absolutely hit it up. SimpleGrowth'sKPI.com, save $100. This is a limited waiving of the $100 setup fee for the KPI version 2, because the Simple Growth team does have to go in and do some work. If you are signing up with it, basically after you check out, there is a link to our thank you page, and it's going to walk you through in a video step-by-step how to connect to Simple Growth as a certified advisor on Service Autopilot, so we can go in and set this up and support it for you. So it includes the updates, supports, and just like everybody who's already using this product, at no extra cost, we're just going to give it to you because we want you to be successful. We want you to have that foundational piece. In addition, if you go to SimpleGrowthSystems.com, there is a little pop-up. I'll pull that up here so you can see what it is. When you go on the Simple Growth page, even if you're not interested in the offer here, there is a little Facebook pop-up here. It's a messenger. And if you click on that messenger right here and continue as yourself, if you type in KPI, we will make sure in the next few days to get you that chart to actually get you for public accountability. And that'll have all the formulas in it and all the information you need there as well. So another question. Problem is sometimes 2 guys prune, 1 guy weeds, and then I'll edge. SA can't break that down the way we need to. Rob, actually, let's probably not the right place to talk about it, but there is a few approaches that we do with our deep dive clients, how to tackle just that in essence. When people come to Simple Growth traditionally, our deep dive package, they come to us either for 1 day or 2 days, and we sit knee to knee, now with COVID virtually, but literally 8 to 16 hours and help people build their production rate based estimating system. So that has been a implementation hurdle that we've been able to overcome and get really good data in the system. So Rob, I'm happy to pay it forward and just let me know, in a private message tomorrow, and I can get to that for you and kind of break that down for you. So going to be hanging out here for a few more minutes. But if anybody wants to take advantage of this process and this great waiving the $100 setup fee, it's SimpleGrowthKPI.com. And I'm happy to answer any of the questions on this or anything business related. Hopefully you've been watching Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions, we answer them live on Facebook. Going to be having another great SA Weekly talk show coming up Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, with another special guest where we just literally provide value. And if you're looking at a podcast, if you're on any of the major ones, iTunes, Spotify, if you just type in Simple Growth, all in one word, we have our podcast. We're up to, I believe, about 53 recorded episodes of the podcast already as well. So going to hang out here for a few more minutes and then head home. Tradition, I don't like to work this late, but I thought it was of value that that we actually do this live here so we could see that. So once again, you got three different options. Option number 1, if you're already a KPI client, no brainer, we're going to do that for you at no extra charge. If you're new or you want to upgrade, option number 1 is going to cover your daily and weekly accounting and up to 3 services for the price increase data. That's $39.97 a month. We're waiving the $100 setup fee. Option number 2, daily and weekly reports, up to 6 services for the price increase data. That's going to be $69.97 a month. And you have access to both of those automated reports 24/7 in Service Autopilot. And then option number 3, you got the daily and weekly reports, and you can automate up to 9 services for price increases. That's $99.97. If you need more than that, let us know. It's basically $10 per each additional service for the automated reports. Mike, how does the report look with a few hundred clients when you do the price review after 12 months? Is there a report per client? Yes. So, Eric, obviously to take a screenshot and have it fit on there, it would have been tough. But if you're looking at it, all these would be right here for the whole entire company. So this would be just our mowing, and then you would have a whole different report for, say, fertilizing. Or if you had in the cleaning, you'd have like your weekly cleaning, your bi-weekly cleaning, or top to bottom deluxe cleaning. So you would have all the visits here, and it would, on average here, you'd have to raise that price per visit $5.04. So there's a lot of data there, but it's clean and organized. And I will tell you, it's significantly less cumbersome than using something like this. I lived and died by this for probably 10 to 15 years here. I wish I had figured out how to do this beforehand. So that's the ticket there for sure. Josh Wells, appreciate it, Mike. Have a good evening, Josh. Good seeing you, brother. Absolutely. John Dominic, how do we get on the weekly podcast? John, I don't know if you're talking about finding it or actually getting on the weekly podcast, but wouldn't mind having you on there as a guest, John, because I know your business is absolutely crushing. I know you've got a lot of knowledge in the things you're doing. So if you're looking to listen to the podcast, just go on iTunes or Spotify, search Simple Growth. It's right there. And if you're looking to get on the podcast as a guest, John, shoot me a private message sometime this week, and we can definitely get you hooked up there. So Jonathan wants to know, would like to hear a story of your initial success with a piecemeal pay versus hourly. So yeah, absolutely. Before I wrap it up, so long story short, we brought in a consultant probably 15 or 16 years ago. A gentleman spent a day with me for my lawn care company, and I was still kind of on the truck, but not totally. But I was in the trenches, really in the trenches. I knew what was going on. And the gentleman said that, hey, Mike, I think you're running at about 70% efficiency, and you could add an extra 30% production on top of what you're doing. And I was like, that seems a little crazy. This can't be possible, but I paid a pretty large sum of money. So what we did is we set this thing into motion, and lo and behold, he was right. Within 2 to 3%, that was literally the delta. So what we did at first is we double checked our estimating. We made sure our production rates based on square footage or linear feet, small, medium, large shrubs was accurate. And then there was a process which I don't have time to get into, but there was a specific way we implemented the piece rate and got buy-in, and there was a trial period. And the guys and girls in the company literally kind of raised their hand and said, yeah, we don't ever want to go back to the normal pay. So it was based on their budgeted time, but it created accountability. And that's how we added the extra $1,300 a week in billable sales. But it also eliminated a lot of that waste of non-billable drive time. So an example was gentleman Carlos on our team got into work. All the trucks were always loaded. Everything was ready for them. The tablets were on the dashboards of the truck, but their shop time was 5 minutes. We paid them 5 minutes, a total of 10 minutes divided by 2 guys to just double check the truck, make everything was in there, and double check the oil. So they got in, they were running late, they never checked it. They got all the way to the other side of town, and Carlos calls me. He goes, man, I forgot my weed whackers and blowers. Can you get them for me? And traditionally, I'd jump in the car or truck, run across town because I didn't want to pay them to drive through rush hour traffic to the shop and then rush hour back through the shop. But I didn't. I said, Carlos, what was your shop time? He goes, well, 7:05 to 7:10. I go, okay, well, unfortunately, I can't come give you your equipment because I've already paid you to do that job. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? I go, well, we get paid by the budgeted time now. You did the job, so now you got to go back and get it. So you got to make a stand there. But when he came back, he lost a significant amount of time that we paid him for, but it wasn't exactly the time that he spent, the 5 minutes. But it was interesting. He got back late to the shop that day, and he told everybody the next morning, and it spread around the whole entire company. Within a day or two, all the crew leaders were there early, checking their oil, loading the trucks. So if you can hold your ground and get group buy-in and show them how it's beneficial, it's really good. And it's not only putting more money in the business pocket, but it's putting business or money in the employee's pocket. So it's not you don't ever do this to get out of overtime. You need to pay the overtime. But the idea is you're working as a team. So management and labor aren't beating each other up. Well, management and labor are on the same team. How can we help each other make more money and be more efficient? So that's the key to that. And that was one of the big wins. John Dominic says, we checked our times. We found that 50% of time was production, 15 drive percent, and 35 was mystery time. And then when John went to his pay per performance, he got a 30% more production employees and 30% more pay for the employees. So yeah, very similar, John. I think that's very It's very common, but you do have to implement that system right to get buy-in, and it's usually over a 2 to 3 week period, and the timing of that implementation needs to be right so it's not a financial burden for the company, but beneficial for the employee and the company as well. So going to hang out here another minute or two if there's any comments or questions, but if anybody's interested, I'm going to keep this open. I'll close it out tomorrow morning. The special pricing here, it's at SimpleGrowthKPI.com. Option number one, if you're already a Simple Growth KPI client, don't worry about it. You get that. If you want to upgrade to have 6 or 9 services, we can waive the $100 setup fee today. If you're not a KPI client, check it out, SimpleGrowthKPI.com. Just like John Dominy said, by tracking these things, knowledge is power. You're going to empower yourself to make the right decisions. And this is really the foundational piece of creating that production rate or budget pay per performance piece. So that's that piecemeal or piece rate, I call it, pay. But that's going to work in your lawn care, home cleaning industry there. So another minute or two, going to wrap it up. It has been one long day in upstate New York, and looking forward to rolling down the windows and getting home. So Jonathan says, John Dominy, love the input. Pretty cool. And Mike's, thanks for the story. No problem. Jonathan, trust me, man. I'm definitely not here on a pedestal. 25 years in the service industry. Loved every minute of it. Kind of got blessed with some things that we figured out right and wrong. And I just kind of felt it was my duty to help other service business owners avoid some of the trenches that I ended up in mistakenly. So, obviously some of the stuff we got right, but this is being an entrepreneur in the service business. Lawn care or home cleaning it's a lonely place. So I think it's really important that we go and continue to go to these virtual conferences right now, and conferences when they come back, that we create this support network and help each other and share some of this information. So even if you're not interested in our special, at least hopefully some of that data and look inside of some of those wins and losses is helpful for you to implement it in your business as your own as well. So want to say what's up to Scott Furman and everybody else that's watched. So unless there's any questions here in the next minute or two, I'm going to wrap it up, get home, put the kids to bed, and be back at it in the morning. Once again, too, if you have any questions for Callahan's Corner, I'm looking always for some good questions of how we can help people. And if I don't have the answers, I can get an expert on here that's an expert in that to help you answer it. But once again, closing it up, probably first thing tomorrow morning, SimpleGrowthKPI.com, where you can sign up for option 1, 2, or 3. It is not dependent on Service Autopilot. You can still get option 1 and plug all your data in, and also plug in some job cost tracking here manually. And when you're ready for a CRM, whether it's Service Autopilot or anything else, we've got you covered here. But that's the key to it. And anybody else too that's watching that isn't on Service Autopilot, our Facebook Messenger bots now have created online syncs with about 5 or 6 different platforms. So happy to open that up per request from some of our Facebook estimator bots. And we're going to have a big reveal in the next week or two of 1, if not 2 more bots that are fully automated. They're going to be revolutionary in all the different service businesses that we tackle. So one last chance if there's any questions. Otherwise, like I said, we're going to leave this special offer to save $100 to set up off. And we'll see you again tomorrow at sometime tomorrow for Callahan's Corner, where you ask questions, we answer them live on Facebook. So appreciate everybody hanging out. Hopefully it was helpful. And I will see everybody tomorrow. John, Scott, Eric, Jonathan, and everybody else, appreciate you joining us. And Eric, buddy, hopefully tomorrow's looking good in Australia as well. So appreciate our conversations across the pond occasionally. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.